Now back to Talking Tunes.
Welcome back to Talking Tunes, and we're talking with Ranger Bob, Louie, Sweet Louie, and Jojo Gerard. So here we go.
But when you guys worked late nights and overnights, did you ever get any weird phone calls?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, especially in the summertime.
Did you ever get any weird visitors?
We got those too. Yeah, because it was like, what are you going to do? I don't even think we had a lock on that door, did we? I don't remember. But
Rock 95, we did not. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, that was because that was 24 hours, so it was. I don't think it was ever locked. So we get some strange visitors.
People could just walk right in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They wanted to,
yeah. Yeah, if they could find it though. I mean, it was like back on a dirt road, way back, in the trees. So a lot of people didn't even know where it was at. So
it was hard to find if you didn't know where it was.
Yeah, that was my excuse too, Louie. I was really on time. I just couldn't find that damn dirt road.
Was that it?
Yeah, it was it. Man. I just never could find that dirt
usually
road.
Up by 6 a.m. though, so.
So yeah, it was good times there though. We did have some pretty good times there, especially at the on Broadway. We had a lot of fun there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I remember not going home till like, I don't know. I was married then too. Not going home till like the next day a lot of times, but yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the guy who owned that place? What was his name? Do you remember?
Yeah, Cornell.
Cornell, that's right. Jim Cornell.
Jim Cornell, yeah. I don't know. Is he still alive? Does anybody know? I don't even know anymore.
No idea.
He was kind of a scary character sometimes too. Yeah. But
I think
he wasn't as much fun as Bob Goodrich though.
As what?
As Bob Goodrich.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Bob.
Below could do a good Bob Goodrich impression.
Did you ever have any run-ins with him, Lou?
What?
Did you
you
ever have any run-ins with him?
Not any negative ones, but he would just come in and he'd walk around checking the lights and making sure the light bulbs weren't all burned out.
Everybody says that one.
Yes.
How can we work if we can't see?
Right. Absolutely.
God, he'd go crazy with the LEDs now, wouldn't he? Yeah. I don't know.
Sweet Lou, I need to come into the studio and check out the lights. Yes. Get a step ladder and a trash can. We're going to start checking lights. Here we go.
that would help.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what
I put these track lights in. We had these put in a couple years ago. They're already burned out. Like, well, that happens, Bob.
So would Goodrich show up at night when you're on the air?
He did a couple of times, but when he did, he didn't come in and mess with me. He would. Okay. I don't know what he'd be doing there, but you know what I would do? I would just stay in the control room, and I'd avoid him.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah,
I just try not to interact with him.
Now you would also be there, and they'd be doing. Was there anything weird that would go on with the people who were making phone calls at night? Wasn't there like the music research team was?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of was busy and I didn't deal with them either.
Wow.
But I forgot about that. They'd have a team of folks calling people and playing them hooks and researching it. Yeah.
This may be a name you guys remember. Todd Harper.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Todd the Wad. Yeah. Yeah, I remember me and Mike Rich nicknamed him Todd the Wad, and he loved it. He thought that was a great name.
Right. Shortly after I came back from Duluth, so it would have been before I started doing nights for JoJo, I was out doing something. It was 2:00 in the morning. I came in, and I didn't listen to the station much when I wasn't on the air, but I came in, I was getting undressed, getting ready for bed or whatever, and I turned the radio on, and Todd's on the air. And I remember it was a Bon Jovi song, and I wasn't listening to what he was saying, but I could hear he was talking, and he hits post, and he keeps talking. And so, my ears perked up, and all of a sudden, he starts cussing. And I can't tell you what he was saying, but he was dropping F-bombs. Yeah. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm listening, and he keeps cussing, and it's like a one-sided conversation. And if you remember the reel-to-reel, there was a way to set it up that you could have your mic off, but you would be going across the air. Yes. And that's what he was doing. He didn't realize it. In fact, so I call him on the hotline, and I can hear whoever he's talking to. I can hear Todd saying, "Hang on a second, my hotline's ringing. Who'd be calling at this time of the night?" And I said, Todd, it's Lou. I said, don't say a word. Just shut up. I said, you're going across the air right now. He says, oh my gosh, what am I going to do, man? And I'm like, dude, it's 2:00 in the morning. Nobody heard you. Well, of course, some kids were having a slumber party. The parent happened to walk into the room just as Todd cussing up a storm. And he almost lost his job over that. But it was a mistake. So I think Haas was the PD at that point.
Do you remember?
What makes that even funnier is Todd kind of he doesn't seem come across to me as somebody who'd cuss like that.
No,
I think Mike Rich taught him. So
yeah,
you want to be like the nasty man. Do you remember going back to Rock 95? Do you remember when Neil Carney, I think his name was? He was a general manager at KBZ. And Scott,
I remember the name.
Scott Christmas had left there, and that's when I took his position. And they came into the studio when Kenny Calvin was there doing the overnights, and they were totally drunk, they were wasted, and they were talking on the air and playing Dr. Ruth Westheimer liners over and over again. This is Dr. Ruth Westheimer. And they were just saying stupid. And they were talking to me on the phone, on the air, and it was Neil, the general man. Anyway, eventually they sat on the control board, and Mike Majeski had just put it in there, and it collapsed and crashed, took everything off the air. But do you remember that at all, or no? I recorded the whole thing. I got it somewhere, but yeah, they were having a good time playing Dr. Ruth Westheimer liners. So, do you ever have it from behind?
You and I talked on the phone the other day, Oscar, and I told you some stories that I can't repeat now. But,
right. I probably shouldn't have repeated that one, but that's okay. I can edit it out if I want to. But anyway,
right. Exactly.
Well, I gotta hear at least one of them.
I was gonna say, don't leave us hanging.
Yeah, you just water it down a little.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the boob
one is great. I can't even tell this one. All right, I will. The
you know what's great about the story before you do it though? The great thing about the story is that Mark Brookie missed out on this opportunity. So anyway,
that's the story. That's the story I'll tell you.
Okay.
So it was the weekend. It was, I think, a 4th of July weekend, and the first Batman movie had come out. And if you guys remember, Prince had done that Bat Dance song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it had just come out, and I got on the air, and 2 young ladies had called Mark and requested that song. And I think it was on the 4th of July, because I was doing the afternoon shift instead of the night shift, which would have been his shift. And they show up at the security camera, buzzing the door, and they were attractive young ladies, so of course I let them in. and we're standing out in the lobby, and they say, how come you won't play Bat Dance? I said, well, I didn't get a request for it. And they said, yeah, we just called like a half hour ago, and I just gotten on the air. So I said, well, that must have been Mark Frost you called, and he apparently didn't play it for you. And they said, well, you can give this message to Mark for us. And they flashed me. And both of them, they just flashed me, and without saying a word, walked out of the studio. And is it okay to tell the rest of the story, Oscar?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because that's the clean part of the story.
Yeah, it gets better.
10 minutes later, I get a call on the request line, and it's these same young ladies, and they said, well, what did you think about our message? And I said, well, I enjoyed it. I said, but it'd be easier if I could just take a picture to show Mark. And they said, well, do you want to? And I was dumbfounded. I said, well, yeah, sure. And 2 minutes later, they're back at the security camera. So I went and got Jeannie's station camera and took a bunch of pictures in the lobby, took the film out, took it to the whatever photomat over there off of Henry Street, and had Mike Rich pick the pictures up because I didn't want to show my face. And I had those pictures for years. I don't know what happened to them. They disappeared at some point.
Down there with that CD you can't find anymore. The humble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
now back to Talking Tunes.
Welcome back to Talking Tunes, and we're talking with Ranger Bob, Louie, Sweet Louie, and Jojo Gerard. So here we go.
It was in the infancy of fax machines.
Uh-huh.
We were having people fax us stuff, and somebody faxed me. I just Xeroxed it on their, on their copy machine, and then faxed it to me.
Suck on this.
Yeah. I'm like, well, that's interesting. I'd like to see who it's attached to. But
Yeah, you get all the characters, that's for sure. I remember JJ, when I first started, JJ Dooling saying, Lou, you're going to get a lot of calls from the radio groupies. He says, there's a reason that, on a Friday night, they're calling you instead of being out with their boyfriend. Don't mess with them. I'm telling you, don't do it.
Yeah. That was that rock.
And I think for the most part, I heeded his warning. Yeah.
Yeah. Rock 95,
For the most
Rock
part,
95,
yes.
the summertime. I remember all the girls, little young girls that got out of, school during that time, and they would call. And it's like, man, oh man, stay away from me. You're about 10. Get away. So, but Ranger Bob's favorite story is the one that he didn't get to see either. Was the one with the bumper stickers placed in certain spots. So,
And I never saw it either. I'm well aware of the story, but I never got to see it either.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Supposedly,
That's-
Jeannie's
there are
got a
photos
picture
floating around
somewhere.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
somewhere. Jeannie's got them.
Jeannie's got him. Yeah.
Poor Jeannie. Somebody's got to raid her house and try to find all these photos. Yeah, it's like, but
yeah, that girl had a hot little body, man. There was no doubt about that.
I was telling Oscar the other day, I think we all had a crush on Jeannie.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But she was a sweetheart. She was just such a doll. You know what I mean? You couldn't help but love her. She's just a great person.
Well, yeah, she'd do anything you asked, when it came to promotions and stuff. And it was,
I don't think she would do anything you'd ask, but
no, not in that way.
but yeah, she would get things done.
There was just a lot of great people in that whole building. Like I think I've said before, it just seemed like everybody was the right person for the right position at that time. It was just amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah, it really was a cool time.
And like I've told them before, Lou, is you were the one that told me to stick around and I didn't, and I'm still sorry for it. But anyway, because then I went to MUS, but I went to your
radio is so different now than it was back in the late 80s. It's completely different now, and so you'll never see a time like that. That whatever you want to call it, that magic feeling that was going on at Sunny FM. You'll never have that again, I don't think.
No.
Now, were you guys in radio when they used to call the radio station to find out what time it was? The exact time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because there's an old radio thing on Facebook that they, all these different old things that they never do again, which is, can you call a radio station anymore and somebody will actually answer,
Yeah.
And the thing about the time, I remember that, calling up for the time to find the exact time to synchronize my Timex watch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it just,
I think the big thing now to address that difference, Louis, is it's more corporate and there's not that. I mean, I can remember people hanging out at the radio station in their free time, like they would just come over and just hang out.
Yeah.
And we'd just be goofing off.
Yeah.
And a lot of times good ideas for on-air stuff came from that. But those days are gone. You don't have that anymore. Nobody hangs around that. I don't want to go to my
you know what? Jojo, I remember it being in Balella's office with you, and we were all contributing ideas. You were writing the to the theme of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, the Little Blue Hugo.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a morbid story, so I won't go into it. But
well, we got complaints for it, but that was
the Little Blue Hugo, and I live an hour from the bridge now, not even
right.
So yeah,
people don't remember a Yugo blew off the bridge. A gust of wind came and knocked a Yugo right off the bridge and killed the person.
Yeah,
and if it wasn't for the tragic loss of a human life, it would have been funny. But
was Ted Kennedy driving?
No.
Oh.
No, it was just
not that time.
Well, he just swam to shore and left it there, so it doesn't really matter.
That's right. Oops.
And it wasn't like I don't think we were making fun of the person who died. It was just the whole idea of, you know, just taking that song and goofing on it because it was just, you know, that song needs to be goofed on.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
We did that with Talking Tunes one time too. We wrote a song to the Milwaukee Clipper because they had just brought it back to Muskegon and it was all Rusty Clipper, so we called it the Rusty Clipper. And we had a guy do that, and it was just a bash on the Milwaukee Clipper. You know, called it a brain fart or something like that. But
right,
yeah. So you know, you do that stuff, and people look at. Some people like it. Some people just kind of get a little offended by it. I remember,
but that's the biggest difference. Like you don't have that anymore. People just hang out in an office and just go, "Hey, I got this idea. Let's go with it."
Yeah, exactly.
And,
you don't. Well,
and
everything
just hang out and goof off.
Yeah, I mean, all your shifts are voice tracked anymore, and nobody's there, and you just don't have that kind of camaraderie or that atmosphere. It just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that was
that
was always my favorite thing, to follow Jojo around with the camera to put him on TV 40 for LVTV. Jojo's where? Oh, okay, I'll be there in a minute.
Hey, Jojo, do you remember doing Pepsi dance tracks?
Oh yeah.
I found some of those pictures the other day.
I had a video of art the time we were on that. I had a video
of it,
and I brought him to work here in Grand Rapids because I was going to convert him to digital and put them on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that everybody could share them. But we were in the process of moving from one building to the other, and they got lost. Can't find them, and it pisses me off, man.
I had a VHS of it too, and I may still have it somewhere down in the basement.
Now, is that Roger Scudder from Fruitport Schools? Did they put that together as far as the video part of it? I know DJs on the Run was like the DJ.
It was the TV station who did it, I think.
Yeah, it was
okay.
Scott 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it was big. It was big.
Some listener just taped the VHS off the TV and sent it.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was the big stuff. Yeah, because there was another one they did too with the Fruitport School did, but it probably wasn't the same thing. I know we had Jojo. I remember we had Jojo for one of our teen dances we put together for DJs on the Run. And he came in there and the girls all went crazy. Oh, Jojo!
Yeah, they were way too young though.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
It was like an American Bandstand. I think they did it at The Rock, didn't they, in Grand Rapids?
Top of the Rock, yeah.
Top of the Rock.
Yep,
that was it.
Huh.
Top of the Rock.
There were some good things that we did back then, though. Everybody did. That was fun stuff. We could get away with it.
Yeah, that show was fun to do. It was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I got some pictures that Jeannie sent too. Like I say, DJs on the Run was playing the music. Because I saw their system, but and there were a bunch of kids dancing. I don't know if that had to do with the same thing or not.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, we used to do, I don't know if this was DJ on the Run or not, but we used to do like a summer beach dance on the parking lot on the Pure Marquette.
Yeah.
And I would host those.
That was when Bobby's on the Beach was there?
Yeah. They would just take a parking lot and they would have like a teen night. And we would sponsor it and show up, and then they would have a DJ that would play, the music that we played.
Yeah. There's a lot of cocaine at that place. I remember that. That got shut down
Bobby's?
too. Yeah, Bobby's. Yeah. Big time cocaine there. Yeah.
I stumbled out of that bar a lot late at night.
Yeah. I remember playing the basement. They had a basement there, and I played DJ there quite a few times. So yeah, it was quite the place.
Now back to Talking Tunes.
Talking with Louie and Ranger Bob on the Talking Tunes crew.
Lou, what are you doing right now? I know that we chatted a little bit, but what do you do now besides your music?
I work for I work for Munson Healthcare at the Charlevoix Hospital. Physical therapy. I'm a PTA.
Oh, okay. All right.
I've done that for 26, 27 years now.
I was going to ask you too.
Is that kind of what you did for school after you left?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. I live in East Jordan, which is at the right at the tip of the south arm of Charlevoix Lake, and about 20-minute drive into Charlevoix. We have an outpatient clinic that I'm at 3 days a week right now, and then I drive into the hospital and work 2 days a week there.
Now, how are you? That's what I was going to ask you too. How are you dealing with that? Are you like all masking up and everything too?
Yeah. We have a system in place with we're monitoring and all that, And we actually are Charlevoix Hospital. Within the system, we had not been taking in COVID-19 patients, and we have started doing that. So,
you guys weren't? Oh, wow.
We weren't. Starting next, yeah. I mean, if we did, if somebody came in and tested positive in an ER, we would ship them over to Gaylord or down to Traverse City. But we're getting a big surge up here where I'm at.
Yeah, because I heard from friends of mine in Munson Hospital is like packed now. It's full. Yeah,
exactly. And that's why we're doing it. And so one of the floors where I work is going to have COVID patients starting next week. So I don't know how I'm going to be dealing with that, but I'm going to be right around those folks. So it's going to be interesting to say the least.
No, because they got those suits now too, with the air hoses coming out. They look kind of like Darth Vader kind of a thing. But
yeah, I don't know if I'm going to because I won't be on the floor that I'm at. I'll be working with the the rehab type patients, probably not working with actual COVID patients, but they're going to be right in that same wing where I'm at. So
right.
I think we're gonna figure it out as we go along.
Just be careful,
but
man.
and my wife is an RN at McLaren up in Petoskey, and they're full with COVID patients up there as well. So we're just trying to stay healthy and be careful.
Yeah, I got a daughter in an RN in Mercy right now. So yeah, we worry about her every day. It's packed there. It's crazy. So
yeah.
How concerned are you, Lou? With
I am a little bit. I mean, we've got family members in my extended family up here that are high risk type of people that we can't get sick and be around them. So we're trying to stay healthy, keep our kids healthy up here. As far as if I get it, I'm a relatively healthy guy, so I think I would weather it pretty well, but I don't want to get it. So,
there's also,
I don't want to pass it along to anybody else.
I've also heard, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, it seems like some people are having lasting problems after they've recovered. Is that, you heard anything about that?
I'm starting to hear more of that too. I'm hearing more of that too. But up here, like the mortality rate hasn't been super high, even as the numbers have been exploding. I mean, like it, whatever it was around the, mid-March, late March, when things really started happening, we stayed at under 20 positives in Charlevoix County. I mean, for months.
Wow.
3-4 months, we had under 20. And the last number I saw yesterday from the Michigan Health Department was we had 253 cases. And it's exploded like in the last couple of weeks of it. But yet the mortality rate is still staying low up here. It seems like it's more younger people that are getting it, and the younger people are weathering it pretty well.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
sure. But again, I mean, this is, we nobody's ever been through this before. We're all going through this. It's uncharted territory for all of us. So we're kind of trying to figure it out as we go. But I don't know. It's definitely up here where my wife and I work. It's going to be pretty interesting soon.
Well, the one thing,
because you guys really haven't had to deal with the onslaught until now, right?
Until now, right? Yep, exactly.
Being a health worker, though, so, I don't know if you'd be like the first one in line, so to speak, for the vaccine. But I mean,
yeah, actually, we would, I believe. Yeah. My wife and I were actually just talking about that this morning because somebody was it Lilly or Pfizer? One of them are saying that their preliminary tests are looking pretty positive.
90%,
pretty good.
90%.
Yeah.
90%. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. And so, I mean, as they go through these clinical trials, if it continues and they, the 8, whatever it is, who, approves it, it gets approved. The healthcare workers would be, and the elderly would be the first ones that are going to be given that.
Well, I'll take it. I'm not an elderly, but the wife and I both, I have heart issues, and she has, just had a kidney transplant 4 years ago.
High risk people are
that's high risk,
get.
So hopefully, we're hoping that's, going to be us, But but I've been hearing a lot about different people that have been getting it that are friends of mine, and they're younger, but and they've been weathering, or actually they're kids, and they've been weathering it pretty well. So. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're healthy, which like all you guys are, you and Ranger Bob and JoJo,
Right.
you're all in pretty good shape, you know. And
Somehow I have no idea why, but yes.
yeah, but Jojo's the same age as I am, you know, and he's still
Right.
pretty good health, so that's good.
Well, Lou, you're probably in better shape than all of us. I mean, that gig you do, that's physical. I mean, I know that you're having your patients for most of it,
but I'm one of those do what I say, not what I do type of therapy.
oh, okay.
So, yeah.
No, actually, to be honest, I just lost 45 pounds over the summer. So
Wow, really?
yeah, I had to.
I've never
So,
seen you as chubby, so I mean, that
I can send you
surprises me.
pictures,
Oh, please do.
but I'm a little bit below my weight when I was at Sunny FM right now. So
Wow.
Huh.
yeah,
And what was the secret?
I starved myself.
Eating less. And in fact, I was listening to I listened to the podcast the other day. Joe Rogan interviewed.
Yeah.
Gosh, what's his name? Anyways, an actor, and asked how he stayed in such great shape. And the guy says, "Well, you know, I just eat every other day." And he was serious. He didn't eat. He just ate every other day.
It can't be healthy.
You know what? I'll tell you what I've been doing. Skipping breakfast, like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Low fat or fat free cottage cheese with some tuna. You know, those individual packets for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And then a protein shake for dinner. And, you know, raw vegetables. And you get used to it fast. And, you know, I'm pretty much where I want to be again now. So I'm not being so hardcore about it. But yeah, I was having a couple of health things that's like, you know, doc's like, Lou, you're in your 50s now. You're not a kid anymore. And we've, you know, diabetes in my family. And before I get it, I decided to just get serious about it.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did it take to lose that weight?
It was in August is when I started. And I've lost just over 45 pounds as of this morning.
Gee whiz.
Wow.
I know. I weighed in yesterday for the first time under 200 in about 5 years.
Holy
You know,
I was 200 when I worked at Sunny FM.
wow. I didn't know.
Yeah.
That. You know what would be my problem though? I could do that diet, but after I had the shake, I would have to have a couple popsicles and some popcorn,
Well,
and
that's
some
why-
chips, and
Why I keep, you know, some raw vegetables or things around the house because, you know, in the evening if I get hungry, it's just something to munch on that's not going to be.
Speaking of that, I kept some celery sticks around, and I broke my bottom tooth when I did that with celery sticks. Shows how old I am. Yeah, I'm falling apart, man.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sounds like I got to do that diet.
well, you're
It's
not
fun.
you're not big, are you? I don't remember you.
Oh,
being
yeah.
big. Are you?
Oh yeah.
I guess I didn't check your shape out that much, Ranger Bob. Sorry.
No, you know what happens is, you know, when you're 6'4",
Yeah.
you can pack on the weight and
Right.
it doesn't really look like it's there, but it's there. I mean, it's way there, and I just hide it pretty well. That's so.
Big clothes are always good.
Well, and that's what I do, but you still weigh the same. You may look all right, but
Yeah.
you know, you know.
I was
So
just thinking.
I got to
about-
start doing that myself because like Lou said, you know, the whole, you know,
Yeah.
you get into your 50s and all of a sudden
You don't
stuff,
bounce
you know,
back.
no, you don't bounce back. And the doctor starts talking about, you know, you're getting onset this and onset that. And,
Exactly.
and then you walk up a flight of stairs and the snaps and the pops and the breaks and the, you know, all that weird stuff. And you're,
Yeah.
whoa, you know, yeah. So
I went downstairs this morning actually and went through some old clothes I'd packed away and found about 4 pairs of jeans that I can fit into again. They're my 34 waistband, man. I couldn't
Wow.
believe yeah.
wow.
And it's
Yeah.
like, damn, these big. I was trying them all on, showing my wife, and what do you think of this?
Yeah. Look at
I've
that.
seen it all before.
I was happy when I got
Yeah.
into 36, but that just because I wear it below my fat, you know. So then it works out well
actually-
that way.
Actually, I said to my wife, "Look, these 34s fit, and no muffin tops."
Yeah,
Oh,
that's good.
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, honey, I'm proud of you. Go away now.
Now back to Talking Tunes.
Talking with Louie and Ranger Bob on the Talking Tunes crew.
Great talking to you. Really
Yeah.
big hearing from you and hearing your perspective on on the other side of radio, because I was talking to my wife, and she said, well, how often did you actually hang out with Lou? And I said, not hardly at all. I mean, my interaction with him was going to his box and putting, production in there. And I said that was about it. That's what I've found more interesting when Oscar.
Well, I think you were gone most. Yeah, by the time I came in, I think you were usually gone, because I was doing 7 to midnight, and I'd come in 6:30 and do some show prep, and which whatever that was.
Yeah. And so it was interesting because I kept thinking of all the stuff that we all did together, and then half the time you realize, well, we weren't all together. It was everybody had their own little worlds, and but it all sort of came together at that time. So yeah. And do you regret leaving when you did, or was that a good move?
It was a good move.
Okay.
I'd been looking for something to do for a while, and whoever was, I can't remember, Rick, somebody, the program director, he helped me make that choice. So real fast.
Oh, really?
So, oh yeah. And
was that Jim Richards?
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. But the funny thing is, he canned me, and I ended up they canned him, and then they hired me back. I mean, that's radio, man.
Yeah, well, at MUS, I think I worked there 4 times. So
But I mean, prior to leaving, my plan was I'm going to go back to school, and they started the PTA program at Baker College, and I was looking at doing it. And it's like, how am I going to make this work? And it worked out actually pretty good. So
you didn't leave; you were let go.
I was let go. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding! God, man, I didn't even realize that.
Yep.
Holy smoke! Was there a reason?
Well, there was an excuse for it. He brought in one of his own guys.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember where, but I remember the reason being I used to do the top 5 at 5, I think it was.
Oh,
and whatever song it was rotated again like an hour and a half later after the top 5 at 5. Which, yeah, I mean that's not a reason, but that's what he did.
No.
Yeah. So I mean, he was just looking for an excuse to bring one of his guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. I didn't care.
Right.
Yeah. Fred Tascone, you know that name. He fired me twice. So so I know about that. But it was because he said I was playing elevator music, and he said I sounded too dead. It's like, because I hate the freaking music I'm playing. But
right.
But there's one time though, MUS, my very first time at MUS, I was working overnights. So it was 1990, and I was doing the overnights there. That's when I left Sunny FM, and I was working there for almost a year. I think I was there for a year. And Mark Dixon comes into me and he says, well, the only thing we got for you right now is the Running Maddie, the religious show, over there. And I said, why? What did I do? And he says, you didn't do anything, but Walt Love, Chris Roberts and Peg Daniels are coming back, and Walt needs a place to be on the air. And it's like, well, what did I do? So they had to give Walt a place to put on the air, and they got rid of me for that. But he got me a job at LCS after that, so that was cool.
LCS, yeah. There's an old saying: you haven't been in radio till you've been fired at least once.
Yeah, at least once. Yeah, I can match that many times. See, Ranger Bob knows nothing about that because he's never really been fired. It's his first time fired, isn't it? First time let go.
Yeah, it's first time, and I guess it's fired, but I guess it's not, because the difference there is that they just got rid of the position.
Right,
and so I for anybody who's ever gone through that, I still am trying to figure out, I'm still trying to recover from that. That was something I had never experienced, and tried really hard so that I didn't have that experience. But I really wish maybe I had that experience earlier on, because it would have made this transitional period a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, like I was saying earlier, radio has changed so much from that time. I mean, you look at like iHeart, all the folks that just lost their jobs recently, and like you said, it's corporate. It's just corporate business now.
That's Ranger Bob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dave Savage down in Georgia.
Yeah, Dave got what he got. That was a couple years ago. In fact, I actually work with him now, kind of on a part-time basis. He's working for a company called Benstown, who does. They started out doing radio imaging for radio stations, and you could, if you were a program director, you could get imaging or a voice person, and then just do it on barter. And now they've got a commercial division where now they're offering up commercial production for radio stations on a barter basis. And Dave actually oversees, I think he oversees the East Coast or the east side of the country. And there's a West Coast prod guy. And then they have kind of these really super talented people below them. And we just sit around in our own, our little boxes here at our houses and just produce commercials all day long. So.
I love Dave, but I think back to when he was doing overnights at Sunny FM, and I would never have imagined he would have made something of himself.
It's funny. At one point, he was.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he was the senior vice president of iHeart. Had this thing called, it was Creative Services Group, and what they were is they were like the top echelon inside iHeart for making commercials. So if you were a salesperson that had a really big client and you wanted, the top-notch commercial, he was actually the vice president of that division, and he actually did a really, really, really good job. I just like you said, I was the same way because I actually worked with him a couple times. In the meantime, he was in production with. Yeah,
he was a big goofball stoner type.
Still is, yeah, still kind of is. But he makes it work, and he's easy to work with, and But he went through. There's a funny story. When we talk about being fired, he actually went from. I think when he was at Sunny, he went back over to Lansing to work. He was like the morning show producer. And after doing that for a couple of years, he thought, hey, I'm going to be a morning man too. So he went up and got a job somewhere. I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was Gaylord or what it was. He got a morning gig and he hadn't even found an apartment yet. And they fired him 2 weeks after he got there.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So, and then I've got a friend who used to work. He used to work here in Muskegon, and this was when, let's see, I think it's 105.3 was kind of a CHR dance thing, and they had a studio actually in Muskegon, and he was working with this group for about 3 weeks, and then one day they're on the air, and they go to hit the legal ID at noon, and all of a sudden they hit the legal ID, and then all of a sudden there's just this static, and they're standing there wondering like, what the hell happened? And then maybe 5 minutes later, this kind of like AC music kind of comes out. Whoever owned the radio station had not gotten paid by these people, and they just decided to go out to the transmitter site and turn the SDL dish back to the original studio. And so my friend was at a radio station now that wasn't even a radio station anymore. They had all the equipment, they just couldn't get a signal out, and so he lost his job. Just because they didn't pay. So yeah, it's weird. And I lived through the old iHeart thing as they got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And of course, every week now there's more announcements of people getting blown out and what they're doing to the industry and what they're having to do, with everybody got in trouble with, debt and trying to make it buttload of money, they overspent for stations and all of that. But it like you said, I don't think there'll ever be a time like back in that, the late 80s, early 90s. No. I had a good time afterwards, when I came down to Cincinnati. It was great right up until 2010. Everything kind of swung back into my wheelhouse, where you could do voice tracking and still do commercial production. And they had remotes and appearances, and you could make a stupid amount of money. But then that went away at about 2010, and it's been just a weird ride since then. I wish I had gone out and actually had some other skill, because now trying to find a job is really weird, because
I can teach you how to do French fries.
I don't have any skills that are marketable per se in a job, except for I think I could probably drive a truck or work at Amazon, and that's about it. And
well, that's what Mark Dixon did.
Maybe
that,
you did
though.
the right thing. Yeah,
Mark Dixon
that's true.
did that though. He's driving cars for I think Boyd Earl, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah.
He mentioned that he was going to do that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
and then he was going to do some voiceover work too.
Yeah, he was talking to Ranger Bob about that, about setting up.
He's got my Tesla Porta studio at his house.
Yeah, well, hopefully it didn't go underwater with his basement. So yeah.
Yeah, he said that.
Actually, he told me it was fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. But yeah, it was fun while it lasted. That's for sure.
It was the best.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, when I told Ranger Bob about this, but when I worked at LCS and the Eagle, Bob Bolton was there, and I was like I did the Talk and Tune show just on Saturday with the guys, but the rest of the time I did sales, and I did really well in sales because I had just left KBZ where I did a morning talk show on the AM side. And so I knew everybody because, when you're doing a talk show, you have everybody in town on your show. So, so I knew everybody. So I was selling then, and I did really well in sales. But I was also considered one of the top trade guys. So I traded everywhere. I had always had brand new shoes, always had every bar that I could go to from Drink for Free and got all my kids' clothes. Of course, we had the movie passes, we go to the movies all the time. But it was, anyway, so when I left there and went to WGBU as program director, it was like, okay, they're giving me $3,000 more a year, but I'm losing like $15,000 in trade, where you go. So anyways, but yeah, it was fun while it lasted anyway. So all right, man.
Well, great to talk to you, man.
Oh, it's awesome talking to you, man.
TALL because we like you. KTU, you are special. NES, S is for see you next week.